This video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 things that extraterrestrials want you to know in 2019, and these things I think will change your perspective on who you are in the universe. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you that of understanding the 3 things that extraterrestrials want you to know in 2019. These are things that we begin to tap into as we raise our vibration because we become aware that we are immortal spiritual beings living temporary human experiences. And along that process, one thing you'll eventually find is that you are a multidimensional being. Now, a multidimensional being means that you realize that while you exist here right now, you also exist at different levels of consciousness at the same time. And you can also become aware that when you come to Earth, you forget who you are. That's part of this reality is we come here, we forget that we are immortal spiritual beings. We play this little game where we then go through a process of remembering who we are. And what happens is that process of remembering is a part of what makes life so special. But also, it's happening at a point now because there's this ascension happening on the planet. More and more people are becoming aware of who they are. And as people become aware of who they are, they also realize that they have a connection to the stars. And you know this at a deep level, but in life now, more and more people are becoming aware of this. And more people are becoming aware of the notion that reality is something that we create with our thoughts and our beliefs and our emotions. And the more we understand that, the more we take our power back. However, a lot of times what has happened is people have been conditioned into believing that ETs are something scary or bad. That's been in the movies. That's one way that it gets programmed. That's been in a lot of ways that they're referred to. And a lot of times we think of them as well as like negative, as if they're like negative beings. Now, just as there's many different types of people in the world, good people, bad people, people with positive intentions, or there really is no good or bad people. There are good people and then people that are confused and therefore living out a certain way that harms other people. But it's about understanding that at the same time, everyone has a different perspective based on where they are at their current level of consciousness. Now, knowing that there's many different types of people in the world, there's also many different types of beings. And there are positive and negative ones. However, what I would say is right now on the planet, there is more potential to connect to positive ET beings than ever before. That's because there's a vibration on the planet that continues to raise, and as this vibration continues to raise, it puts us into more and more alignment with being able to perceive of beings like this. And this has to do with understanding more so who we are at a greater level, knowing that we are connected and we have what are called parallel incarnations in other star systems. So you are such a vast being, such a vast spiritual being, that you couldn't put all of your energy just on Earth. That's how vast of a being you are. So you spread your energy and you have your energy spread throughout the whole cosmos because there's an infinite universe out there. And what you have is you have parallel incarnations because the only time that exists is this moment right now on many different planets. And in this moment right now, as you go through an ascension on this planet, there are many different levels of you that are also going through an upgrade as well. It's one of the main reasons so many people came here at this time is because as we go through an upgrade from 3 to 4 and 5D reality, there are versions of us in 6 and 7D reality and all these different dimensional states of consciousness that are also upgrading. This is like think of it as a massive upgrade within the universe. And that's what we're going through right now. So the first thing that ETs want you to know in 2019 is that the ETs that we'd be in communication with are connected to us. Imagine that we are a spark of our larger soul. We are a soul, but we are a spark of it. And imagine that the oversoul has different lives in different time periods. You may have different time periods, that's what they call reincarnation, but they're actually parallel lives on this planet. But at the same time, you have different existences on different star systems. And many of those are higher vibrational star systems. In higher dimensions, you can do things like manifest things instantly. Time and space isn't much of a barrier. You can do things like talk to people telepathically. You don't have to necessarily put and speak with words the way we do here. You have the ability to travel great distances with the power of thought. These are things that you do in higher dimensional states of consciousness and the parts of you that you're connected to it, but you forget that when you come here. And even every night as you go to bed, you wake up to a lot of these different parts of you, but you forget it when you wake up in the morning. Because it's not always relevant. Our 3D avatar mind can only understand so much. So it stays focused in this life. And if you knew that in the higher dimensions it was unconditional love and bliss and you could do really cool things, you may not want to be here as much. So it's a little bit of both of those. And what ETs want you to know, though, is that they literally are other versions of us. When we start to understand this, it's hard to have so much fear around it because we realize that we are connected to them. Many times when people may have UFO encounters or in dream states meet different type of ET beings, those may be, maybe not always, but those may be other parts of you, other parts of the same soul, of your oversoul, whatever you want to call it. We're a spark of a larger whole. And when we start to realize this, it starts to make this process easier for understanding how to connect, because the best way we can connect to any ET is by connecting with ourselves first. Because the thing about ETs is they are so integrated with who they are. They're of such a high vibration that in order for us to even communicate with them, we have to integrate ourselves. Because energy is contagious, and what would happen, Bashar has talked about this before, if you guys haven't heard of Bashar. He said that what would happen if a very high vibration integrated being, ET being, were to walk up to us, as they were walking up to us, what would happen is their vibration would match our vibration, and since their vibration is so high, if there's emotional issues we haven't dealt with, if there's things we haven't integrated, those will get brought up to the surface to be dealt with and be let go of. And what might happen, though, is we might think that being is making us feel those negative emotions that are getting brought up. When in actuality, it's just that it's bringing it up because it hasn't been processed yet, and it's trying to have us integrate so we can talk to such an integrated being as well. But remember, that other being is also another aspect of you. This also works for any different area of our life. Every person you come into contact with is a reflection of you, is a reflection. And when you begin to tap into this, you begin to see that you never have to feel disconnected from anyone. That only comes from thoughts. That only comes from identifying with different labels. So in 2019, this is about knowing that now is a highly charged time to be alive. That as time goes on, we are going to be remembering more and more of who we are. So the key to this is knowing that going forward, there's only going to be more of us that we have the ability to tap into. The second thing that ETs want us to know in 2019 is that Earth itself is a master class. What does this mean? Well, what this means is that normally we think of Earth, and the way we would think about it is Earth is of a low vibration because it's 3 to 4D, third density, fourth density, and we feel like it's of a low vibration because this is one of the only places in the universe where you go and you completely forget about who you are. And especially you're not taught that growing up. So there's this forgetting, and there could be a lot of pain involved with that. However, sometimes what happens is we may look at that and say, oh, I'm such a low vibrational being, or there's all these other higher dimensional beings that we feel connected to and that you can go online and read about and understand these like channelings and different connections that people have. And we say, oh, well, we're of a low vibration. But don't get it confused. Earth is a master class, meaning in order to be here, in order to go through that much forgetting, you have to be an extremely powerful being. You have to be somebody that is able to completely forget who you are, to completely remember, and to go through a spiritual awakening. And in order to get to that point, you have to have gone through a lot of progression, a lot of growth. So what they want us to know here is that we are naturally high vibrational beings. We forget who we are, but you have to be a powerful spiritual being in order to even go through this kind of experience of forgetting and going through this life. So it makes it a little bit easier, it makes it more empowering to know this. Because when we begin to tap into this, we start to feel more powerful. We don't have to develop this identity as being a low vibrational being. We don't have to beat ourselves up, be like, oh, I should understand this or all of that. And here's the thing as well. You want to be here right now. You want to be here right now. And that's actually the third thing they want you to know. They want you to know that you want to be here right now, and you have waited thousands of years to be here. Because now is the most highly charged time on the planet to ever be alive, and there's so much progression that you can go through in this lifetime that it is incredible. And because it's happening here, it's happening at different levels as well. Dolores Cannon's work, I've quoted many of her books before. Dolores Cannon, who had something called QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, what that would do is that would get people to a deep level of brainwave activity to where then they are able to talk and connect to their higher self, and their higher self just flows through. And one thing their higher self may say is that this person, this soul, chose to be here at this time. They knew it would be a time of ascension. And she's had thousands and thousands of people go through this hypnosis all over the world that didn't know each other saying the same exact thing. Now is the time to be alive. Now is the time to be here of the most highly charged time, the most transformation that'll happen in the planet ever, and you chose to be here. So it's very empowering to know. And this is something that all of us can tap into. We can tap into more of who we are. We can understand that ETs are other aspects of us. That every single one of us on the planet, we talk about starseeds. Sometimes we think, oh, am I a starseed? Am I not a starseed? Every single person on the planet is a multidimensional being, whether they are aware of it or not. A starseed is someone who's just aware of it. And also many times who came to help awaken other people, to be a light worker and to shine their light and help other people shine their light as well. Because we incarnated into this system on the planet where you forget who you are, but there's also this collective consciousness where we're all connected. And as one of us wakes up, that influences everyone around us. That's why a lot of us woke up in families that necessarily weren't all going to get it. Maybe some people were, but not everyone is going to get it, because there's more power to help other people wake up. It's like we planted seeds all around the world because we chose to incarnate on all different parts of the world and all different types of family. It'd be easy to say, oh, why we didn't all just incarnate into the same families and we all just got each other? Well, that wouldn't have been as much growth, and that wouldn't have helped as many people, because it wouldn't have spread itself out enough to where people had a reason to wake up. You know, when I went through my awakening in 2012, for me, it was confusing at the time, but a lot of people that didn't get it then are now coming around and want to understand more about it. So it all has the right timing. So just trust that process. Understand that you are a multidimensional being. You come from high vibration and you are just going through the process of raising your frequency again. Now is the most highly potent time to be on the planet ever. And you chose to be here. And remember, Earth is a master class. You are a powerful being. And you are just becoming more and more aware of how powerful you are. If you want a meditation that will help you to raise your vibrational set point, there's a free meditation on top of the description box below. It will help you to raise your vibration. Listen to it for 21 days. I think it could change your life. Also, I'll be doing more live Q&As on Instagram. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram, you can follow me here. I do them almost every single day. So if you have questions, you can ask me there. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little notification here so you can see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.